Hello, everybody. It's Bob Anderson, and today is May 23rd, 2025. And I did take a trade today, and I screwed it up, but then I fixed it. You'll see it's in the video below. It's in the video. It's in the back end of this video. So my week, I ended up. Hold on here. Oh, Jesus, sorry. I was hitting the times button. My eyes are all blurred and stuff. I got some poison oak on my hands in my yard, and then I put them somehow got them in my face, and so now I'm on Benadryl and stuff. It's very terrible. I look like I went a couple rounds with Mike Tyson. Really do. I mean, it's terrible. Look at. Anyways, but it doesn't hurt. That's the good part. I ended up at 1770 for the week. Yesterday, wow, yesterday was really busy for me work wise. I quoted out 16 modular home projects yesterday. To put it in perspective, I might quote out 3 a week. I did 16 yesterday. I've done about 6 more today. Yeah, my digital ads are blowing up. So, anyways, but I still was able to scratch out a good trade. It's in this video. At the tail end of this video, you'll see I took a trade in gold, and I mean I was fumbling around trying to get the video to start and to take the trade and all that kind of stuff, and I ended up getting in the trade and getting knocked out. I had to jump back in. It's a long story. You'll see it in the video. It's I'm still struggling to try to get the screen turned on because I don't want the video to be too long. So I don't want to just be videotaping me just sitting there waiting and waiting. Because again, what's one of the main things? Patience, patience, patience. So finding the time that it's opportune to jump into a trade is patience. Well, if I have the screens on, it's just videotaping candles doing this. Anyways, so I try to time it to when I'm getting ready to do something. Yesterday I took like a couple trades. I made $50 today. I took that one trade in gold, got like $290. 1770 for the week. I'm excited. I really had no intentions of trading. It's Memorial Day weekend. So, I mean, but I saw this setup happen in gold when I sat at my desk and took it. But anyways, that's it. So I'm done. One of the things I said I was going to do is I was going to just grab some questions and print them out and kind of prepare. But the interesting thing is when I started looking into the questions, and I want to remind everybody, I'm dyslexic. So when you email me, for example, or you ask me questions on YouTube that are like Charles Dickens novels, I mean, I just struggle. So, but I ended up noticing a pattern in these questions. These are a whole bunch of them right here. You know what they all ask me? It's pretty much the same thing. So I grouped these all together. It has to do with the mental side of trading, the trade discipline, that kind of stuff. And and I talk about it in on this YouTube channel that my number one hurdle in trading really was that. And I even alluded to the fact that even back when I was paying, gurus, for their trading strategies and that kind of stuff, that I'm not really sure that their strategy didn't work because it may have really just been me. Because my mental struggle of trading, back in those days was horrible. and I still have flashbacks of it. But I'm going to be honest. I really feel right now that I'm at my peak level of confidence and comfort. And here's the thing: when I say that, yet I still tell you guys on this YouTube channel, I need to work on this. I need to work on this. One of the main things I got to work on is like what happened on my trade Wednesday afternoon. I mean, I hit that thing and it ran. And instead of managing that trade and recognizing that it was going from the prior day overnight open to the current day overnight open, which is a beautiful trade, and getting that $1,700, I was just excited that I got my $500. And I was excited that I got my $500, and I should have been excited that I got my $500. Because I recognize exactly what they were trying to do. By the way, today's gold trade that I took was the same thing. There were lines and there were 90. It was a 9 EMA in the way, which might have made you think that that they were going to trade that the trade was to the 9 EMA and then like a 1 minute gold line and then a rejection, but it wasn't, because we were close, just like the trade on Wednesday. We were close to a line, which in this case today on gold was the prior day high, and that's what they were reaching for. And once they reached that, meaning the market manipulators, once they reached through that 9 EMA to that that prior day high, that's all the confirmation they needed. And then they turned around and woof, gone. That was it. That was the spot they were looking for. And I've gotten really good at recognizing, wait a second, this is not a 1 minute gold line. This is because we're too close, by the way. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong. Okay. Meaning I don't mind that I missed a trade. I don't get upset that I missed a trade. I get upset if I get in a trade and I lose money and the trade ends up doing what was the more conservative thing, and I miss that because now I'm upset because I lost this money over here. If you get what I'm saying. But anyways, so when I look at these trades, I'm always looking for the more conservative entry, and I'm not looking for an aggressive entry. I'm looking for the more conservative entry. I'm looking for same thing. I in some of these videos I've showed that when you have an overnight open, for example, and price goes down to it, and then the candle comes way up, which gold did that again in one of my videos recently, and I didn't take it because how much price I had to defend for that trade to work. If I've got to defend too much money to just make $300-400 or whatever I think it's going to get, it's not worth it. I want that candle to consolidate. I want to be closer to that rotation spot. It's just discipline and patience. But people asking me what's the mental side, I'm going to tell you right now. One of the things you can do, because this is something I've done. Don't. If there's a chart you didn't look at today, let's say RTY or NQ or whatever, and you really don't know what's going on there, open that chart up, move your candles over to 9:30 in the morning, and go candle by candle, and start telling yourself what you think is about to happen, and slowly move price over candle by candle, looking at your moving averages, see what's going on, and start reaffirming to yourself that you're reading the market right, because then in live trading, you can feel more confident about what it is you're about ready to experience. Because when I say, have you seen this movie before, I'm being 1,000% honest. It's have you seen this movie before? Even the little subtle things like the gold trade that I took today. I've seen the movie so many times now that I know if they cross over and they're hitting that 9 EMA, for example, they cross over a prior day high and they're pulling back, they're going to hit that 9 EMA and they're going to, there's going to be a battle there because there's traders just trading that line. But I know they're bringing it to that prior day high. That's the pivot point. Just subtle things like that. You start picking, you start feeling real confident when you see that happen live. That's why I tell you guys over and over again, the thing you can't replace is screen time. There's nothing I can do sitting here showing you my charts and the trades I took that's going to replace the screen time of you seeing that. And that's why I also talk about pick an instrument that fits your personality. a learning instrument, like gold was never something when I was trying to get my confidence that I wanted to trade. Gold was not at all. But RTY was because it has a tendency to move in straight lines. It's a $5 instrument. You dick and dunk and you get a $200 day. May not sound like a lot, but Jesus, it's that pattern then can translate over to the NQ where instead of $200, it's now $700 or $600 or something like that. The same exact move, because the moves are the same, except the personality of the instrument's different. Therefore, like the fighting and ridiculousness, for example, in the NQ is far worse than it is in the RTY, far worse than it is in the ES, and gold is a little bit better. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit. Gold's quite a bit better than NQ, but NQ is brutal. You've got to trade the NQ, for example, you better, I just think you need to have all the rules 1,000% memorized and not be having mental struggles. But so take a chart, go just keep dragging the candles across that you don't know what's going on. Keep dragging the candles across, and when you see a candle crashing down, and you see, for example, the prior day overnight open, and you're looking at it being 10:30, and it's just reach. You can mentally tell yourself, okay, I would have my entry here. Oh no, the candle got a little smaller. Okay, I'd have my entry here, and then go to the next one, and wham! Start building your confidence. By rinse, wash, repeat. Rinse, wash, repeat. And then the secondary thing, and you guys are probably seeing this with me in my live trading that I've been putting out on YouTube, which, by the way, several people that asked me questions said to me that me putting out my live trades has really helped because they see how I'm managing the situation. The situation may be I get in and the trade just goes dormant. I'm trying to find my way out. You know what I mean? It's not, if the trade's not going to work, I want to get the hell out. Okay? Because if I can make that loss $50 or whatever, okay, because it's just not doing what it's supposed to do, that's $50. You know how easy it is for me to, keep paying attention now and find another trade that the $50 doesn't even really matter because the next trade I'm taking is going to be, say $300-400. Okay. That is really the main thing I saw in here is just the mental side. And so time cures that. Reviewing charts. And, and if you're bound and determined you want to trade the NQ, for example, then trade the MNQ first. The other thing is I slipped this up in my last video. I was sitting there going, oh, let me see if I've got a sim account. And I pulled up my thing because I had already made quite a bit of money in the NQ that day. And I was like, but I see a trade setting up, but I don't really want to take it with my money because I've already made a bunch of money. I don't want to give it back now. So I was looking for a sim account and I didn't have one. So I bring that up because um, the problem with sim accounts, just like the problem with Apex, okay? Because Apex is, I mean, $20 you got an account, and I'm not bashing Apex because you got to learn somewhere, and that is the cheapest way to learn is using somebody like Apex. You get the platform, you get the data, you can toy around with the account and all that kind of stuff. The problem is if if you don't mentally handle that account like it's a live account, just like you would do with a sim account, you can pick up on patterns and all that stuff, but you will not deal with the real life anxiety of being in the trade. And that sometimes I find with sim accounts is where you end up taking trades that that you really shouldn't be taking, or you start averaging in the losses because you don't want your sim account to have a loss. I mean, just stupid stuff you wouldn't do in real life, or you shouldn't be doing in real life, I should say, with real money, and therefore you might kind of pick up some bad habits. Everything I'm telling you, by the way, is stuff I'm guilty of. I mean, I'm telling you these things as from real life from real life. Okay, sim accounts have not fixed bad habits for me, just by trading and working and all that kind of stuff. One other thing in here. One other question somebody asked me, and I'm going to pull up a little chart here just for a second. Somebody asked me another question about. He's asked me a couple times, and I'm sitting there like, I don't know what you want me to do, because I can't do that. Hold on, let me tell you what it is. The other question the person had is, and I've had this conversation on the phone with people multiple times. Where is it? Why can't I find it? Anyways, why can't I find what I'm looking for? Oh, here it is. So the question was, Bob, can you get code some system or whatever to do back testing on this? Here's the problem with back testing. My peak time to trade, gold is, say 8:30 to say 10:30. The ES, NQ, RTY, whatever, your equities from like 9:45 to say 10:30, for your morning stuff, which is your 1 minute gold lines. And then after that, if the market's moving, which of course it's not doing today because we're heading into Memorial Day weekend. But if the market's moving, then you get your red lines. And of course, you always got your lines, your static lines you could be trading. The problem is, how do I back test when on Monday, leading economic indicators was at 10? On Tuesday, there was no news. Wednesday, no news. Thursday, jobless claims at 9:30, S&P PMI at 9:45, existing home sales at 10, and today new home sales at 10, and then Tuesday of next week, durable goods at 8:30, CoreLogic home price index at 9, consumer confidence at 10, Wednesday nothing. By the way, except FOMC at 2 o'clock, which means the market's going to be shit all day. So I can't back test when I have to specifically take each day and determine when and when not to trade. Back testing doesn't know how to do that. Back testing doesn't know that on October 12th, 2024, we were going to have PMI at 8:30, and we were going to have jobless claims at 9:30, and we were going to have whatever else at 10. CPI. It doesn't know that. And you see what happens to these charts. You got lines flying everywhere. for some of those things, which you should never be in a trade for that. But the back testing's going, oh, well, she'd have hit the gold line. Oh man, it was a loss. The back testing doesn't know. That's the problem. I can't back test it. All I can do is sit here and identify north and south movements, know where rotate. Listen, you guys have sat here and watched me. You can see that these rotations exist. They wouldn't magically happen over and over again at certain points that I talk about in advance if they weren't real. That's all I can tell you. That is the main thing I can tell you. Oh, and then of course, like on oil, Wednesdays, some weeks, Wednesday's oil inventory day. Sometimes it's Thursday. You got to get a calendar for that. Backtesting doesn't know that. Anyway, so I that's that subject. I did have one guy in here. Let me see if I can find it. I had one guy in here. This was kind of nice. Where is it? Remember, I'm struggling because I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Is this it? Hold on. I have been following your videos for a while. I'm going to leave some of this out because some of it's personal. And I wanted to say thank you. Your recent videos going through the mental processes on live trades have really helped my understanding. I have completely set all my settings to mirror your charts and system, and have for the first time felt like I can see what the hell I'm actually waiting for to enter a good trade. And that, exactly what I'm waiting for. If you'll notice, I talk about that. I say when I'm looking at a chart, I'm anticipating this because this is the only, whatever it may be, that's the only trade that's possible to happen, say in gold right now is X. That's the only possible trade there is to happen in gold, for example. So I'm waiting for this. If there's nothing because it's just sitting there consolidating, then I'm ignoring it and I'm looking at something else. But I'm always anticipating something, and then when the storyline plays out the way I anticipate it, that also helps me, I believe, feel a little more confident in the trade. He said, I finally feel like I am moving forward and treating this like a business. Oh, that's good. I just wanted to say thank you and appreciate your time for helping us along our own journey. So, what I was going to say, and I'm struggling for the words. I think it's great that I'm help some people along with their journey. I really do. But it's not going without me getting the benefit of becoming better in my own trading just by the mere fact that I have an audience that pays attention to what I'm doing. I mean, it has made me a much better trader by doing this, by doing exactly this right here. Now, granted, trying to videotape stuff screws things up. It screwed me up. It cost me $100 this morning. Cost me $100 this morning in gold by getting screwed up trying to get the video to start in a trade and that kind of. Cost me $100. But I can tell you the $100 is really nothing compared to the benefit I get from the fact that I've done this. One other question somebody asked me was about summer trading. Okay, so summer trading because the markets may start slowing down. And that is a true thing. he said, well, should I shorten up my targets and that kind of stuff? And I go, man, I really hate to shorten up my targets. If I'm shortening up my targets, then I'm conceding, and I'm gonna bring up a point here. Okay, then I'm conceding that my risk reward may not stay true. The gold trade I took today was a 4-to-1 type trade. So here's the interesting thing. You know why oil's off my chart right now? When it's sitting at $60 a barrel, and oil moves, say 1%, that's 60 cents. Well, how am I gonna make any money off a 60-cent move? Gold is not $700 an ounce anymore. It's $3,300. So when gold moves 1%, it's a significant move. So and that's kind of what's happened with the ES too. These larger, higher levels, when they're moving at 1% increments, let's just say, I'm just using 1%, but the analogy is the same. There's more money to be made on follow through on these higher dollar instruments because there's a lot more, because it's not as big of a percentage. NQ, it's at 21,000. It literally just hit 21,000 while I'm doing this video. It's at 21,000. So there's room. If you're trading an instrument that's $10, you see what I'm saying? You need 10% to get a dollar. If a dollar makes $1,000, which is exactly what oil is, you got to go a dollar to make $1,000. It's hard to go a dollar to make $1,000 when the instrument's only $40. But to go, say, in gold, $10 to make $1,000 is not as difficult because it's $3,300. So right now it's sitting at $33.57. I mean, is it a big deal for it to go from $33.57 to $33.67? No. No. But for gold to go from, say, 40 to 41, that's a big deal. So now, summer trading, the problem with summer trading is, in my opinion, is just, again, the volume is not there. I get that. But I try to trade earlier and earlier and earlier in the morning when we get into summer trading. And then as soon as it tops out and flattens out, I'm done. Now, I may glance at my charts if some reason, the market starts moving out of the blue. But the reality of it is it's probably not going to happen. That's just, I don't know what else to do, but I personally am going to try not to move my targets down. If anything, I'm personally in my trading journey right now, I'm trying to figure out how to move my targets out and find those bigger trades like in the NQ, which just happened. A 1 minute gold line trade literally just happened in front of me in the NQ. Let me see if it's a valid one. Hold on. Like if it's a first touch or a second. Hold on here. Crossover, Donchian high. It's a first. And there it goes. Yeah. Anyways, and by the way, this rotation in NQ is, let me do the math here. Back to the Donchian high is 26 points. So, 26 points is $500. Should it go $500? It should. You know what I mean? That's a pretty good move. I'm running mine at 25 points right now. In summertime, if those pivots start getting smaller, then I might, be doing that to get to the smaller pivots, but I'm going to be a lot more selective too. The other problem with summer trading, I'm going to tell you the main problem with summer trading, in my opinion, is if you have one or two losses, it's really hard to find a way to get your money back. When the market's moving and you have a couple losses, it's not hard to get your money back. You know what I mean? Because opportunities are going to continue to rotate. I don't think I gave anybody a good answer on that one, but I'm just telling you, I don't want to move my targets just to have a profitable trade, because again, it's something I know every one of you struggles with. But a $400 profit in gold, for example, is so much better than a $200 profit in gold, because you have to do that twice. And if you only win 50% of the time, you see what I'm saying? So really, and that's what I'm working on. I'm really trying to get those bigger targets back to the pivot on the 1 minute gold line minimum that got me into the trade. You know, things like that, if I'm making sense. I'm really trying to work on personally my own self and my own growth. I'm really trying to work on, for example, rejections of the prior day high or the prior day low or any of that stuff going back to at least the red line where I expect resistance, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm working on that. A few weeks ago, I did a good job at that. This past week, I had a really good trade to do that, and I didn't do it. I just took I think it was $500 in gold. I just took my $500, and if I'd have stayed with it, even though it did everything I needed it to do, if I'd have stayed with it and just gone back to the red line like I should have, and it actually went right to it, it would have been like an $1,100 trade. So I'm not looking to shorten my targets. I'm actually trying to figure out how to push my targets out. That's what I'm working on. Anyways, that's it. I'm blabbing too much. I know there was one other question. Dang it. Hold on. Let me look for it. I didn't find the exact question, but I remember what it was. It was something to the effect of 1 minute gold lines. You know, are they really supposed to be, you know, what are they where are they supposed to be in conjunction with the red line? Well, okay, listen. By the way, in the description is a link to to my whole section of trading videos on how to trade the 1 minute gold line, how to trade the 5 minute red line, how to trade the static lines, you know, that kind of stuff. But you know, don't get me wrong. The 9 EMA has opportunities that are counter trend to what I teach. Okay. But what I'm trying to teach you is the most simple version of the 9 EMA to trade, which is new high, crossover, new high, new Donchian high, pullback in the same direction of the existing red line, which therefore, if you're north of it, long. If you're south of it, short. Does price go inside that 9 EMA if it's a long ways from the red line and actually work its way back to the red line? Absolutely. As long as it's inside that gold line and back in and it works its way. And that's counter trend to the red line. But I don't teach that. It's like, you know, it's like teaching somebody how to spearfish when they haven't learned how to fish with a fishing pole. Learn to fish with a fishing pole first. You know, if that's the easiest way to learn to fish with a fishing pole, then learn to throw a spear and spearfish. Okay, so it's in the direction of the red line. It has to be. If that's just the simplest thing, it keeps you on the right side of the market. And the other thing is that I cannot stress enough is north south, north south, north south. Next week's going to be tough now that I'm looking at this calendar because there's no trading on Monday. Tuesday, the traders are probably going to be somewhat lackadaisical because they take a long vacation. Because why? Because Wednesday's FOMC day. So, I mean, I may not even be able to make some money until Thursday, Friday next week. See, it just, again, it's discipline. Now, I may wake up Monday and the charts are sliding along because some war ended or whatever. I don't know. And then I'm going to take an opportunity at that. But, again, kind of like back testing, my back testing's not going to know that we're after a holiday and and there's nothing going on in the market. Because remember the last thing I'm going to tell you, and I've told you guys multiple times. If price just keeps moving along like this, the moving averages are going to come to price. The other thing is the Donchian Channel is going to continue to compress to price. So just because the Donchian Channel gets pierced too, doesn't mean now all of a sudden you're excited and it's time to trade. No, it's that sometimes it's not because price went and seeked creating a new high in the Donchian Channel. Instead, the Donchian Channel keeps compressing to it because there's no movement in price. The price keeps going east and west, not north and south. And there's no trading in that. So anyways, everybody have a good weekend. And I hope you like my little video below. Yes, I did screw up, but it was all so I could videotape this for you. Bye. Good morning, everybody. So this is gold pre-market. It appears to be up today. See here, what did it do? Yeah, here's the open right here, way down here, and we are up quite a bit. What I was looking at in the pre-market, we had this crossover, high, pullback, boom, gone. So this is clearly a second attempt. So I wasn't going to chase this thing. This run, gold line go. But we now are testing the top side of the, oh shit, God, damn it. Testing the top side of the, of the prior day high. And I freaking grabbed my stop too slow. So now I'm in the hole on this freaking trade. Come on. Man, what a dumbass I am. Shit, that freaking really hurt me. That put me in the hole right out of the gate because I didn't grab my stop and get it out of the way. So now I'm struggling with a trade I chased. Go. Go. There you go. Go. Come on, go. Boom. There we go. All right. Jesus. Wow. Okay. Let me go back and explain what the hell happened there. God, I feel like an idiot. There's my money. All right. So let me explain something that I think is this is just something that, again, I've picked up on over time. Okay. So remember, this is a crossover right here and a retest. Number one, right there. I just feel like I'm sorry. I screwed up that trade, man. I feel like an idiot. Cost myself $100. But anyways, so here it is, right? Boom. There's your smooth pullback. There's your roll up. So this right here becomes a second attempt. All right. But more importantly than that, I want to point this out. Okay. because I mean, I have found this over time. And I mean, it's like I'm throwing. I know I do this a lot where I just throw knowledge at you guys. That it's just my observations of things, and that's this. This was a second attempt, so that's even though it's a smooth pullback, Donchian high, all that stuff. I don't take the trade. Don't take the trade. I don't take the trade. Okay, but you see this right here? That's the prior day high. We had not crossed it, the prior day high. We had not crossed it and tested it yet. So even if this was not the second attempt, this was the first attempt, I would have sat back and waited, because when the trades, this I'm going to say this slowly, when a bigger style trade, which a line trade crossover retest is a bigger style trade than a 9 EMA trade. When a bigger style trade can be had by the manipulators of the market by just by pulling it back a little further. I literally said to myself, when this thing popped up, they're running it right. This is where they're reaching for. Then I'm going to take the trade. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. They will reach for that bigger style trade. I mean, because, we're only talking a few. I mean, granted, to us, that's a lot of money, but it's just a few ticks, really, from here to here. They were running it back to here because they had not tested. They had not tested the prior day high before they ran off. Okay, they have to get that out of the way. They have to clear that area. They have to take this resistance area, which, by the way, that would have been a pretty decent trade right there too. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's a $500 trade right there. Then the crossover retest, boom, there you go. Okay. They have to clear these things. These are like checklist items. Okay. So when we cross over, we got to go back and test. It's a checklist item. Okay. So that is why I was so excited when they did do this. And then I just screwed up because I'm trying to film. So I'm trying to turn the video on. I'm trying to actually, because I turned my camera on. My screen's on right here, right in here. And I saw this setting up, and I quickly went and looked. Oh, there's the first one. It worked. Second one's going to fail. I'm going to take it if this happens. So then I said, oh shoot, I got to film this. So I start trying to open the video and all that stuff. Kind of discombobulated, got it started. It came right back, knocked me out. And I said, shit, because I knew this trade was going to work. So, I mean, I did a big mistake. I got it. I chased a trade. But I mean, it's like, there's times when trades are going to work. When you sit down and you do what it is that I do, the simple trade patterns that I trade, when there's just times when you see them and you just know, oh my God, this thing's going to work. I was willing to take another $100 risk. So that puts me for the week at, I only made $50 yesterday. By the way, I'll explain in my intro video. 1880, and then I net 290 on this, so I'm up to 1770 for the week. I really didn't trade much yesterday. I was so busy yesterday. I did 16 quotes for houses yesterday. 16 quotes in one day. To give you an idea, my digital ads are just driving me crazy. To give you an idea, 16 quotes. By the way, this was probably a valid trade to take right here, except we're getting really close to the open now. Yeah, this opens at 820. Gold does. It opens at 820. But that's a nice pattern because you went from a Donchian high back to the prior day high again. I mean, anyways, put it in perspective, I might do, in normal time frames, I might do 4 quotes a week, maybe, in normal market conditions. I did 16 yesterday, and just to put that in perspective, I have 16 more. I have 14 more in my hand here to do today. Yeah. Wow. Just got busy. But anyways, this is wonderful right here. Very wonderful. Very wonderful. Oh my God, that was very wonderful. I'm probably just going to shut it down for the day because I really got to get working on these quotes. I am so pissed at myself for missing. That cost me $100. That cost me $100. That little screw up, because I definitely would have been pulling my stop down for that little recoil. But you saw, boom, there it goes. I mean, it's gone. So I got 40 out of that, and I lost 10 here, and then commissions is the difference on the two things. So I'm up 290. I literally turned my screen on here. All right. If something lays out in front of me while I'm working on these quotes, I might do it, but this is probably going to be it. I'm excited. It's a $1,770 week for me. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. Like yesterday, I didn't even have time to trade. I did take a trade. I can't remember. I know I made $50 total, but I think I had one loss, one win, something like that. Anyways,